and a good Friday night to you from EastCountySports.com with Dave Dickens. I'm Ramon Scott. Dave, we needed a clean sweep. We almost got it. We went 5-1 tonight in the playoff games, and we just missed a clean sweep just moments ago. But we needed some of these road teams to come through. You and I, Dave, said that the Monte Vista Monarchs could win this game against winless Fallbrook. Monte Vista, Kasim Conley, you guys knew what you were getting into tonight with this team. You didn't take them lightly. They played hard. You guys got the best of it. Dave, go ahead. We've got Kasim and the guys on the bus after the 34-33 victory over Fallbrook. They'll be headed to play Hoover next week. I'll say it, Dave. Another winnable game. There's Alex Villanueva behind me on the screen with one of his touchdowns. Dave, go ahead for Kasim on the bus.
Kasim, tell us how you got it done. I mean, you guys were 1 point behind it on a couple of occasions, and how many did we get from Villanueva tonight? How many holes did you get for him?
Yeah, we had 2 from Alex tonight. We had another 2 from Rashawn. And offensively, I think everything is just coming together. Offensively, I think we're actually working together as a team. Ever since week 1, we just got our offense stronger and stronger since week 1. And to add on that, our quarterback Derek Taylor, he's also a great key to our offense. He can sling the rock really good. He can run if he has to. I mean, our entire team over in general is just we're a big family, and I would not want to lose this team at all. But it was a great game to Fallbrook.
Hey, Kasim, Rashawn Florence, our man also had a couple of touchdowns. He had that touchdown pass he caught in the second quarter. That was a deep one. That gave you guys a 15-14 lead. But they kept coming back, and then Rashawn got another touchdown as you guys took a 22-21 lead in the last minutes of the first half. Did you feel like it was going to be a back-and-forth game in the second half, too? It was pretty crazy even in the first half, right?
Absolutely. And from the first kickoff, I believed it was going to be an offensive game because we watched the film. We knew they had a pretty good quarterback, that we knew he could throw the ball. We knew he could run. We knew they had a pretty strong running back. He can get low, run people over like that. But I just knew in my brain that it was going to be an offensive game. And I'm actually glad that we were up at half. So it kind of gave us an advantage going into the half, and we capitalized on it, and we got the early lead in the second half.
Kasim, in the first 2 touchdowns, I saw you guys said scored quickly. How did we scored first, but they came right back? What happened with our first touchdown? Do you recall?
Our first touchdown, I believe it was like 3 plays that we first scored. I think we ran like a run play, and then like who's what? Oh yeah. No, our first touchdown was ran by Dupree Fenoyd. He actually had our first touchdown. I think he had a pretty decent game too, Dupree Fenoyd. But that was our first score. We were in the red zone, and then we scored early.
I'm glad he scored early. You know, he usually gives us a clutch touchdown, it feels like, and he got us off to a big start. Dave, after that, Monte Vista scored the first touchdown of the second half to make it 28-21. It might have been this score behind me. It was a short burst by Villanueva, but the Warriors countered right back with that pass. Kasim, a little pass over the right side. I saw they kind of got into the coverage a little bit, and that made it 28-27 at the time, but then you guys traded 2 more touchdowns. Kasim, this is where you got to fill in the blanks. How did we score? How did it come down at the end of the game? We don't know. Help me.
Well, at the end of the game, defense really locked in and they strapped up their offense, and we came back. We got a score. It was 34-27 when we scored again, when we got the ball back. And then their offense came down and scored off of a corner route, deep pass, something like that. And then we just ran the clock out. It was 34-33. And then on defense, they tried to go for 2. We stopped them, so then they didn't get the 2. And then we got the ball back with like 4 minutes left, and then we just ran the clock out.
Okay, so they still had time, but they did go for 2. Who scored that key touchdown to make sure we had that little cushion there at least to make the 34? Do you recall?
when we got the 34, I think Alex scored that touchdown.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was Alex. Yeah.
Great. Go ahead, Dave. This is great job by the Monarchs tonight. We said they could do it against these guys, and they did. Go ahead, Dave.
I mean, I guess that's a testament to your offense and your defense. I mean, you were going up against you didn't. I'm sure you didn't go into it, and I'm sure Coach talked to you long and hard about it. That don't look at their record because they played. You saw the teams that they'd faced before, which were some pretty big teams, and to even have to play those teams, I mean, they're going to be. I'm sure he'd let you know how tough it is going to be, and you're going to have to play your hearts out.
Oh, absolutely. That was like the first thing we had to recognize, that just because they were 0-10 doesn't mean that they can't put up a fight. And them playing San Marcos, all the open division teams like that, we knew we had to work with, because they were playing good teams like that. So we had to stay prepared and be aware that they could come out and give us a good fight, which they did. And I'm still proud of my team that we fought back.
And how glad were you guys to hear the news in the first place that you had made it? Because you guys were on the bubble and basically almost you were not going to make it as far as your record and strength of schedule and all of the other good stuff that goes into the formula to get you into the playoffs. But then one of the 64 teams decide to opt out and not play. So that bumped you up so you guys could get into the playoffs and gave you that opportunity. Wow. How happy were you guys when you actually got that opportunity, or you heard that you were in?
Right, were you guys on edge a little bit, waiting for the news?
We were we were just waiting. We were so confused. Like on Saturday, after the Valhalla game, we were just waiting. We were just waiting for Coach what we were going to say, because the way the algorithm works is it's very confusing. We just don't. I don't get it at all. Like like no one gets the algorithm, so we just had to wait and see. But when we did see that we were actually last seed in D5, we were very thankful. But we didn't get too excited, so we still had to focus up, because we knew we were going against some good teams in D5, and we had to be prepared.
Dave, you see what I'm talking about? If Kasim doesn't, if he's one of the smartest kids in the conference, if he doesn't get it, Dave, how are you and I supposed to get it? Kasim, you got anybody lined up with you there? Or I know you're on the, might be in your seat or whatever. Did you get us a guest to join you?
Adrian Perez right here, our lineman.
Hey. Adrian, great job, you guys. Hey, can you hear me, Adrian?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Hey, did we characterize that correctly? Were you guys sitting on the edge waiting for the announcement? And did Coach say that, hey, even though maybe we didn't make it, I think we can still get into the playoffs?
Yeah, he just never, he kept believing in us, and just he's like, either we make it, we had a great season.
Hey, Adrian, how tough were those Fallbrook players down in the trenches there? Because as we said, yes, we all know they were 0-10, but they're going to match up pretty well with you guys. How did it go with your battles with your guys down there? Shout out your teammates on the interior.
Just our basic linemen, they look bigger, but that didn't matter to us, because, we hit the weight room. We were just stronger. We were more mentally prepared than all of them. We just gave up a fight. We just didn't give up. Just no matter how injured we were, no matter how hurt we were, we just kept going and just kept fighting them, just kept pushing it.
And keeping the lead late, you guys had to have that confidence, that a build up there for that 2-point conversion. Kasim told me there was still 4 minutes left, but do you recall that play? Were you on the field for their conversion attempt to try to take the lead?
Yes, sir. I was in the play, but yeah, it was just
who blew it up? Who blew it up?
It was Derek, right?
It was Derek.
It was Derek Taylor.
Awesome. Wow.
Yep.
Well, terrific. Dave, you got anything? This is great. We've got him, but I know it's a little hard. If you want to let him go, I'm totally satisfied with the victory from the Monarchs, and we're going to play Hoover next week. Look, they're going to get, told by the coaches, Dave, how tough that game's going to be. But if I saw them beat this team tonight, they can beat Hoover. Dave, go ahead if you want them.
I'm just going to say, guys, if anybody else can hear me besides Kasim, let's hear it for the Monarchs.
Hey, here for the Monarchs! Yeah!
Great job, guys. Great job. Good luck against Hoover. A terrific job tonight, Kasim. Thank you very much as
Thank you,
well.
guys.
We put you in charge when we told you 12 weeks ago that we're going to need you on this night. You knew what we were talking about. Let's do it again next week on the ride home against
Yes, sir.
Hoorah, huh?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I have you. Gotcha.
All right.
Great
Take
job.
care of business, man, just like you did tonight. Great job, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great
You guys
job,
have a nice
Dave.
night.
You too.
You will, Kasim. You made our night right there. You guys and all of our teams. We're still trying to strike it up tonight with some of the other teams. Kasim, thank you for getting Perez in there as well. Davis, they did a great job. 34-33. I think we got all those scores down there a little bit. We might have to clean it up a little bit after the highlights tonight. But again, Rashawn Florence, Kasim's hanging on. I don't mind if Kasim, you can stay here all show and listen to these great highlights, unless we need some room. But Rashawn Florence, well, hey, we got him. Tell me about the two scores, Kasim, Rashawn, the two scores that he had.
Yeah. It was was it the first quarter that he scored?
He had early in the second quarter, he caught a deep.
Yeah,
I saw he caught a deep one.
Yeah, it was like the second play of our first drive in the first quarter. He had a fade. He had a fade. Easy. It was just easy, just like in practice. How we doing in practice? It was just a float. Just go up and get it. Touchdown. Next drive in the second quarter. Our first. It was second.
Second quarter.
Yeah, second quarter, second route. Ran a post route just like how we do it in practice. Derek to Rashawn. It's just a great connection between them two. They've had during the season. They didn't really connect well, but it all worked out in this game and from the past games on, and it's shown. And it's shown in the games. So
no doubt,
those are the first two scores.
Because he had that great punt return last week, that 85-yarder. Everybody thinks of us as, running it with Alex, but Rashawn's making big plays out there right now, big-time plays.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot, Rashawn. Kasim, we're going to let you go. And
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think if I need anything else from you with these touchdowns, but I think we got it all. You guys did a great job. And shutting down their guy, Lucy. Lucy did score. Fallbrook actually, I think, took the lead at one point there after Lucy scored to make it 21-15. That's when we came back and got another touchdown from Rashawn there in the first half, and it was 22-21 there. I think they had two different leads there, I think, early on, 14-8 and 21-15 there to get the lead. But hey, we got the lead back and in control, I almost want to say. Kasim, anything else, sir?
Oh, absolutely not. You guys have a great night. Really
You
great
too.
guys.
Enjoy that win and get ready for next week, man.
Yes, sir.
I wish I had more to ask you about the plays of the game and everything. I'm not going to delve into any feature story with it. Look at how great you guys look on the bus right now. Thank you, Kasim. Awesome.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right. Dave, that was absolutely terrific with the Monarchs there riding the bus home after that win, 34-33. And like I said, they'll be taking on Hoorah next week in a game. I would have said, let's keep Kasim here to get the whole show. Hopefully they're still watching, but taking on Hoover next week, Dave. If they look that good tonight, yeah, you got to worry a little bit about the scoring. Hoover's got a great offense too, but you know what? We've got a versatile offense. Listen to what he said about Taylor.
I talk about a team that has changed so quickly. After early on in their season, they had who was it, Bean, that went down, and then Taylor had to take over ever since, and he's been slinging it. I guess they've been throwing more than they have in Monte Vista. I wouldn't say history, but in quite a long time.
Wow. I mean, the way they're just, describing it, I mean, who would have thought Alex only if I'd have told you Alex had 2 touchdowns, who would you think won the game, Dave, right?
And I think, another thing I want to say, if he's listening to this later, is we should sign him up. talk about somebody that really understands the corresponding and even understands your computers. He understands your computers better than I do. I'm taking college courses.
Right? I mean, look, the computer, maybe we'll have our own algorithm. All right, I'll cover some other games. Dave, you're working on a few more interviews here, and I'll go right to the top of the board tonight with the Mount Miguel Matadors. Talk about picking up a win here at Mount Miguel at home tonight. Big win here, Dave, but not as big of a blowout as the score here might indicate. It definitely was a game that Mount Miguel, kind of in Mount Miguel fashion, kind of pouring it on late as the better team. The Matadors scored the first touchdown of the game in the first quarter on a drive mostly engineered by the running of KJ Shields. Then the Matadors extended the lead in the final minute of the first on a rushing. I'm yelling, Dave, like we're still talking to Kasim, but I'm excited about our teams. They extended the lead on the final minute of the first on a rushing touchdown by Jaden Hunter, who's really been coming on strong. Santa Fe Christian got on the board with a touchdown pass to make it 14-6, but the Matadors scored midway through the second quarter on a touchdown pass for a 20-6 lead. This is midway through the second quarter. It's only 20-6. After SFC closed the game to within 21-13 with a rushing score, Mount Miguel scored on a touchdown reception by Ezel Buchanan on a double pass that extended the lead to 28-17. Then the Matadors made it 35-13 on a touchdown reception by Brandon Arrington with just under a minute to play in the first half. The Matadors took a 41-13 lead on a pass reception by DJ Wilkins as it was get everybody involved night for Mount Miguel. Santa Fe Christian did come back to make it 41-21, Dave, on a rushing touchdown by Magnus Falkowitz, but the Matadors scored again on a pass completion to AJ Logan with under 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. That made it 48-21. Mount Miguel's Callie Young had a touchdown run to put the Matadors ahead 61-28. I might be missing a few touchdowns in there, Dave, but I'll have to clean that up because there was too many for me maybe to count there with some of the games late. Mount Miguel next will travel to play El Camino in what should be a very good game this week. They got it done at home here, 62-34. Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, they impressed me because I know I took Santa Fe Christian because of because of the record, but strength of schedule, and they do well on the road, and they have in the past with our teams. But you know what? Hats off to the Mount Miguel Matadors as they move on, and this is definitely going to be a much bigger test, though, than the Santa Fe Christian Eagles.
Yeah, El Camino's given the Grossmont Conference teams that they've played a little bit of a rough time in the postseason last year or two, if I'm not mistaken. I was there when they beat Helix a couple of years ago. So, okay, let's move on. We're working on go ahead, Dave.
And then they beat El Camino. Wasn't that the first game that against Helix, correct? We played them this season.
Right, yeah, and we know, and we'll also get the scoreboard out, Dave, and let everybody know what's going to happen with the teams that didn't play this week right now. So also in Division 1, Dave, Scripps Ranch and Torrey Pines. It was Torrey Pines, a pretty convincing victory tonight, 26-15. So it'll be Torrey Pines at Granite Hills next week as the other game in Division 1. In Division 2, where we already know Christian, I just spoiled the beans there a little bit. We know Christian won. We're trying to get them right now. So let me move on, Dave, here and cover some of this other action right now and go to Division 5, where it was a clean sweep by the East County tonight, Dave. We already talked to the Monta Vista Monarchs. How about this one? You kept a sharp eye on this one tonight with Santana. Big victory here over Kearney in this one, Dave. They looked pretty solid here. I picked Kearney, but Santana was obviously much the best tonight. After the Kearney Comets opened with a 3-and-out, the touchdown by the Sultans got them quickly out into the lead when Ethan Miller passed to Denton Gore from 5 yards out for the first score of the game. The drive was set up by a Sultan interception of Kearney's gunslinging quarterback, Brody Stump. We said, Dave, that the Sultan's defensive secondary could step up. I said, yes, they have a good defensive line, but the secondary can do a good job. Well, what happened? They added a second score in the first quarter, Dave, when Noah Quaylen had that interception return of 23 yards for a touchdown after the receiver. Remember, Dave, he kind of tipped the ball into the air right to Quaylen, who found the ball and had clear sailing for a touchdown. Kearney got on the board with a touchdown to pull within 14-6 with a 5-yard pass on 4th down. Stump hit Zayden Gravely for the score. I think Dave was at the end of the game still convinced by Stump's ability anyway, maybe in the face of a little bit of pressure that he hadn't seen yet. He still looked pretty good. But Santana added a field goal by Grant Johnson in the second quarter, but the lead was still just 17-12 at halftime, Dave. The Comets added their second TD of the game. Wyatt Williams was running pretty strong in the first quarter, Dave, nearing the 100-yard mark, but he looked to be sidelined. He came back later in the game. What did you see with Williams?
I saw early in, I'm going to say or maybe mid second quarter, trying to get Coach Estes and some of the Sultans on here as well as some of the Patriots. I think I would say we will have pretty good luck with one of them. But anyhow, it was mid to the end of the second quarter, and he'd been running hard. I mean, he had well over 150 yards without me even looking at my paper in front of me here. And I think he when he went down low, he took a hit to that, I want to say the right knee. He had a severe limp on his right knee and pretty much sidelined for the rest of the half. They put Julian Mays in there a couple of times, handed off to him for the duration. And then they brought him in again in the third quarter. And then they were doing a lot of rotations. But when they needed to pick up more than 2 or 3 yards, they knew the man to, and I mean, he was limping. He looked like he was hurting. But when they're doing the rotation, needed those big yards. I will tell you, Wyatt Williams is well over 150, maybe close to 200 yards, even with the injury. I'm hoping that maybe it's just some bruising or something. Maybe he just needs to ice and take it easy during the next practice and get ready for Bonita Vista.
Dave, the big play came in the third quarter when Colton Thornton returned a punt 60 yards for a touchdown. It looked like the Comet punt team over pursued, leaving almost a wide open field for Thornton, who got up to the right sideline and scored with 7:21 left in the third quarter to make it 24-12. Then Ethan Miller hit Xander Bennett with a beautiful pass down the middle. Bennett with that good size leaped up, caught the ball near the goal line, fell over for a touchdown, 22 yards, give the Sultans a 30-12 lead with 3:45 left in the third quarter. Johnson kicked another field goal. He's been so solid. And Kearney did add a fourth quarter touchdown on a 2-yard stump keeper. The 2-point conversion was no good with just a couple of minutes left. Dave, Santana up next against number 2 seed Bonita Vista.
You know, the interesting thing is I don't know if they don't have any depth or they don't even have a running back that they thought would be successful against this. I got to say, these edge rushers that Santana has up front, they were all over him. I mean, he couldn't. I think he had probably about 2 seconds to get rid of that ball, and they were on him already. Luckily, he did have some legs, but he's a runner. I did not see them hand off one time during the entire game. He maybe ran up about 4 times. he got some pretty good yardage, but I like the pursuit of that defense, not only up front and the front interior, but also on the edge. And then their secondary too was, I mean, I'm going to count 5 picks, I believe, tonight. I didn't get one of them, but I'll tell you what, this Sultan defense is going to be something for this Bonita Vista team, but they're going to be a lot more difficult than this Comet team that we saw tonight.
Well, for sure. But again, look tonight to me, eventually, here comes Coach right now, Dave. So we'll interrupt here a little bit. I think I see, yes, Eric's coach getting into position. Or you're walking around, getting into position. Great job, Coach Estes. We've already kind of recapped the game. I don't know if you heard our recap, but we might need to clean it up a little bit. But great job tonight in the win over Kearney, Dave. Coach Tim Estes joins us. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, I'm going to say it, and everybody knows it. You could hear it throughout the whole game. And you know what? I'm going to be the first person to say this. It's because there isn't enough help in Southern California officiating. But tonight was one of those nights. I've never seen so much confusion on the field, even placing the ball. I'm just going to go out and say it. That had to be frustrating. It looked frustrating not only to you as coaches, but the kids were confused.
Yeah, I would agree with you here. Wasn't real thrilled with the officiating this week, but I mean, I'm never going to say an official, messed through the game or did anything like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, never that way. But I wasn't thrilled with a couple of the spots they had on the ball. There was one that looked like it was almost 2 yards short in the game. The first down, I'm going, really? This is not even close. But
it was it was about 2.5, 3 yards short. I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going, okay, that's not great. So,
but how about these picks? I actually, Coach, I wanted to clarify.
7. They said Coach Stein might have said 7. Is that 5, 6, 7? How many, Coach?
I think it was 5.
Oh, I think Coach froze on us, actually, Dave.
Here, ready to go.
Oh, there he is. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Coach,
so was that 5? Was that 5 picks on the night?
How many did we have?
We had 7 picks tonight.
Oh, my gosh. I said, I don't know. We do a little preview show. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I said the Sultan secondary can do the job against this passing game of Stump. But 7?
Yeah, we had 7. 2 guys had 2. Noah Quaylen had 2, and Tatum Morehouse had 2. We had the pick 6 from Noah and stuff. So yeah,
got that.
And we actually dropped another one, and actually it wasn't so bad because Coco Thornton, he actually dropped one, but on the next play was 4th down. That's when he returned the punt for the kick for a touchdown. It's like, okay, I'll let that one slide.
There was one more after I think Omar Saleh, he had a near pick, and then I think it was on a 3rd and 8 towards the end of the 4th. You had one more interception. I didn't see who made that one.
Shoot, who made that interception?
3 guys with 2 picks. Yeah.
Oh, two guys had 2 picks.
2 guys had 2. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Who had the other pick?
It was the last one towards the.
Coco had 1 pick. Noah had 2. Denton had 1. Tatum had 2. So is that what's it? 2, 4, 5, 6. Who's the other one? Actually, let me see if it's on my. Let me see about the stats.
That's the one I didn't have. Yeah. I'm like, I saw it.
Hang on, let me see. I may lose you for a second. I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna look on my email here. Hang on a second. Are you still with it? Still with me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on. Let's see what we got here. Who had the other one?
And Coach, we also saw that Williams was favoring his right knee. It seemed to be towards mid to end of the 2nd quarter, but then he came back, and you were rotating him with Julian.
Yeah, Julian Mayers and Grant Johnson. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he took a helmet to the thigh, so a little sore. So we got him out a little bit, but then he came back roaring back, and he ended up he had 26 carries for 184 yards.
What did I say? I said it had to be well on his way to 200, and if he wouldn't have been injured,
yeah, he could have had a couple more for sure. And then no, they did a good job tonight for sure. And then the other guy that had that was Aiden Thornton, Coco's older brother.
What type of strategies did the defense employ to rack up those? Are we settling in knowing that this is the offense? I mean, this guy's probably the most, for this level of teams, one of the most prolific passers in the county. So when you guys are practicing this week, do you even run any run plays? And how do you have an offense that kind of replicates what he does? I guess you don't want your quarterback too tired, and you got a couple of others you've seen in there. What did you guys do this week?
This week is still different. Like I said, they did run the ball one time with their running back number 11. He did run the ball once, and we stuffed it. But their quarterback got all their rushing yards, which wasn't very much because when we had him scrambling. But we did a good job somewhat keeping him contained a little. I said the game plan for this week was we have to keep him from running around and then throwing the ball because, you let a quarterback run around for a little bit and somebody's going to get open. And their receivers were good, but we kept enough pressure on them. And all week we just talked about staying close, being able to reach out and touch the guy almost. And they did a great job. The defensive backs did.
Yeah, your interior also was incredible. I mean, the pass rush, I'm going to say he had about 2 to 3 seconds, maybe if he hadn't had that to get out of the pocket.
Yeah, we put a lot of pressure on him. That was, like I said, that's part of the plan. Is we put pressure on him, so he threw some passes that weren't great, but I think that's part of the pressure. He overthrew them or underthrew them, and threw that one that was, I think it was tipped behind him that you mentioned earlier with Noah, and he picked it. It bounced right to Noah, and it's like, okay, so of course I'll take that. But yeah, that guy's a good quarterback. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's 6'2", 6'3", whatever he is. He throws a nice ball.
You know what? And what was really neat, I thought too, is wasn't it Gore that had the pick that set up the touchdown that he made? Also, the first touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah, Gore was fantastic on tackles tonight too. I think I don't have the complete stats, but I think he had the most tackles on the night.
He had quite a few, and so did Omar. Celine, he had quite a few. Coco had a few. Aiden Thornton had a few. But yeah, the defense backs had most of them because they did. Like I said, I don't know how many times they threw it, but I'm going to say they threw it 40 times or more. Like I said, they only ran it the one time with the running back, and the quarterback scrambled and took off.
Yeah, he did it quite a few times, but I think he only broke out for a meaningful amount of yards, maybe once, where you guys couldn't catch him. But I mean, that's going to happen to any team.
And like you said, I don't know how many yards rushing. I'm thinking that they might have had 30 or 40. I mean, total. But they threw a ton.
Yeah, and Coach, when you have a situation like you guys did tonight against an all-passing team like you do, David mentioned to me, he said, I think the Sultans, when they're possessing the ball, we might even have, I don't want to say limitations now because Ethan is all of a sudden, you've had different quarterbacks this year, and Ethan has really stepped up here these last couple of games big time. But he said you guys looked very deliberate, like you knew to keep the ball away from their offense as well.
Yeah, one good thing about with their offense being as explosive as it is if they're not on the field, it's hard for them to score. So,
yeah, I noticed that you did run the ball most of the time, especially when Williams was before the injury. I mean, you threw a couple of times. I saw Ethan was having a little bit of a hard time on quite a few incompletions this evening.
We did have a few drop balls that didn't help, but we dropped a couple scores that we should have had in the game. But yeah, we had a couple drop balls, he had a couple of passes that weren't his best. But we were able to come back and run the ball a little more.
But this is exactly what Ramon and I were talking about and you guys went out there and did exactly what we thought you were going to do. I picked you. I said they're going to win by at least 7.
Yeah.
And even with that quarterback they got on the other side, not to mention Monte Vista had also been very close to beating them, which I'm actually surprised now after watching them play you that Monte Vista did not beat them.
I think it is early in the year, but Monte Vista, they score some points to do stuff and they control the ball, but sometimes we were able to throw on them a little bit more, so I think they probably had a little more struggle with the throwing, especially early on until they kind of got their defense wrapped up a little bit more. But I think if they played them now, they'd have beat them now. Monte Vista is a good football team. And they won.
Man, we just had them, Coach. I don't know if you caught it with us, but they got the road win at Fallbrook, 34-33 in a thriller, and did it in probably the fashion that you might expect here.
Yeah.
Maybe Dave, we've talked a little bit more passing too. Coach, what do you know about the Barons next week? We don't want to look too far ahead, Dave. If the Wolfpack could beat Crawford, which look, we got some winnable games here, even though we're probably going to be underdogs. We could get a rematch of the Mayor's Cup. But,
we could.
Let's look at Bonita Vista first.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it if we can. No, Bonita, we scrimmaged Bonita back in August, and I liked our matchup back then. And so I think this will be a good game. But, Bonita's obviously done well this year. So, and they're playing their home field. So you always give props for doing that. But we'll start looking at film in the morning, and we'll see how it goes.
They have a new stadium, I think, right?
They do.
This year, so that should be kind of neat
Yeah.
down there. Okay, yeah, they one thing they do, I mean, they they run a lot of plays too, and they've had a pretty successful season, Dave. Thanks for getting Coach. Go ahead, Dave. You got any other questions for Coach? I think we covered a lot of the plays. We'll get the stat. I think we did a pretty good job.
Your kicker was even
other
with
than me picking the comments for some reason, Dave. How'd you let me do that?
And then I noticed that our kicking game was great too. We had one, unfortunately, that they did get up and block. Other than that, though, I said that was going to also be a huge part of you winning the game was going to be your special teams in particular.
All the special teams.
Well, yeah, and your kickoff or the punt return, I should say. Holy cow!
Coco, tell us about that play because it was only 17-12. They probably stole a little momentum with that late touchdown in the first half, making it 17-12 at halftime. Then I mentioned it, Coach. I don't know if you caught it, but I said it looked like they over pursued. They were on the outside. It left it wide open for Colton.
They did, and when I saw him catch it, and they had the one guy that went outside, and we got him blocked, and I'm going, oh, here's the lane. He hits the lane
right in front of you guys.
And then we made a great block. Omar made a great block on the quarterback right as he's getting ready to go in the end zone, and it just worked out because they were all near the middle of the field and over, and so we had the outside basically to ourselves. And it was really good, but our special teams was outstanding. We got an onside kick. We kicked it deep a few times and pinned them back. We got the punt return. And right before the half, they kicked one, and we almost got that one returned for a touchdown as well. So,
Coach, let me ask, what is you're a coach. What is the strategy? You guys obviously, to me, probably lead the world in onside attempts at surprise time. So what is the thinking? What at a high school level, I'm sure a lot of that comes into play. We might be in a high scoring game anyways. So why do the Sultans do more onside kicks? So we've seen it from a few other teams too, but I don't know, Dave. I think the Sultans maybe take the gamble too much if I want to be old and crusty, Coach Estes.
Well, I tell the coaches all the time, I go, I do not want to punt the ball. And obviously every coach says never wants to punt the ball. So I go, if I'm in a position where I go, I don't want to punt, I'm not going to punt. And then the onsides, I go, depending on, there's a lot of guys that put, obviously the best athletes back there to return it. I go, do we want to put the ball in their best athlete's hand with some space? No. So we're going to do other stuff. And I go, so we perfected a few of the onside kicks and saying, okay, let's try this. And then we go, but now defense, now this means if we don't get it, you got to come up and make a play. And, sometimes do we go on the wheel a little too often? Yeah, probably. But, like tonight, we got another one. So I go, okay. But we kicked it deep all except for once. And so I go, all right.
It was a shock for me. I'll tell you that. I remember of quite a few of them, but I at the time that they did too, they're going to get the ball back again. All right.
Yeah. Well, we finally got the answer from Coach and Dave and Coach Estes. It's not like the NFL. It's not a 97%,
right.
Even whatever it is, probably 90. But somewhere it's probably 95 or 96%. recovered by the receiving team. But in
Right.
high school ball, I don't know, Coach. You probably know better in your head. It feels like we can
You
get
got your own
one
algorithm.
out of every
Yeah.
4, one out of every
We,
5.
we've recovered quite a few. I wish it was our side 97% of the time, but no. But we probably get probably 30 or 40% of them for the most part. We do pretty good. And then a couple teams now they go, we're just going to put our hands team up there and then scoot everybody up. So then we'll kick a team harder to set up.
It's not surprising anybody anymore. They're expecting it, but we practice it so it's like a play.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what we do. And like I said, I spend time on special teams. I go, I do the kickoff return. That's my deal. And I go, hey, we're doing this. We do quite a bit of it. And I even talked to Grant's our kicker. When he kicks off to our kickoff return, I go, okay, we're going to do some onsides. And he practices that as well as when we do our normal kickoff stuff. So,
boy, does he have a foot too.
What's that?
Boy, does he have a foot too. If he wants to kick it all the way into the end zone every time too.
He could. Grant has got a real leg. He's got that boom. When you hear kickers kick, when you hear the boom, he's got it. He's got a special leg, and he has that slow roller really good, and he recovers at quite a few of his own onside kicks. So
we've seen the Sultans do it before, Coach. It's going to be a crazy game next week. What's his range? I got to know in case it comes down to that.
But was it at a 44 yarder or something close to that earlier this year?
Yeah, he can kick it. He can kick it from 40 plus on a good day, and if he's feeling it, he could probably get in the 45s range if he really had to. He's got a live leg. When last year when he was a freshman, he was putting it in the end zone as a kicker in the freshman team.
Wow.
On the JV team, he was putting in the end zone quite a bit. And now we're going, and then he got an injury, but then he came back from it. And he's pretty healthy now, and so we're going to try to get him more, putting in the end zone even more.
Fantastic job, Coach. I picked at the beginning of the year. It was tough to pick whether it was going to be you or Monte Vista, and even in the playoffs right now, I'm finding myself going, are they going to be the last two standing in their divisions? That's it.
Well, I think you heard what Coach said. I heard him subtly say he would like to get another shot. He's going to be rooting for the Wolfpack next week. They want to get their they might not get a cup, but they'll get an advance. The only way, like they say, you got to win all the playoff games. You don't have to be undefeated in the regular season, just in the postseason. But Coach, I'm sure he speaks for the team, like another chance at the Wolfpack in the next round. And we'd like it too, Dave. Come on.
Yeah.
They can
two East County teams any day.
They can beat Crawford, right, Coach?
Yeah, I think they can. I don't know much about Crawford this year, but I think they can. They got a good running game, so I think they can control them, and I think their defense will match up with them pretty well. But then I'm kind of cool that I think everybody in Grossmont won this tonight.
Yeah, Steel Canyon ended up on a tough end, Coach. They end up falling tonight in basically a last-second touchdown by Escondido. Get this, Coach, 57-53 tonight. This was our only losing team tonight. Steel Canyon came back twice at the end of the game in thrilling fashion, but only ended up on the short end. They couldn't stop Gonzalez. Basically, I think he had 5 touchdowns at least for Escondido, their great receiver tonight. So we didn't sweep them all, but the Division 5 teams did. You mentioned the Wolfpack, and of course we were just on with the Monarchs. So next week, Coach, look, I'll say it this way, Dave. Coach Estes and his staff and the Santana Sultans program have playoff experience, and that's going to help them a lot. They've been there and done that at home, on the road, at the big stadiums at the end in the championships. They have the experience to get it. Probably more experience right now over recent years, I think, than Bonita Vista. That's not for Coach to acknowledge. That's just for me to say. I feel like that's the case. So maybe that will help. And yeah, Dave, we're going to hit them up next week, hopefully on the way back to Santee. That's what we'll do on the bus.
I hope so. That'll be great.
Sounds good. Well, great game tonight, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It was a little tough with those to see it via NFHS as those jerseys with the black and the purple.
Yeah,
our little
The camera was fine, and I had no problem with the
these
cam.
eyes did.
Thank you for having that cam on for us, and a great job. You want to hang on and listen like you always do. We're going to talk about the Wolfpack next, so if you haven't heard about it. So thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and congratulations again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you next
All
week.
right, Dave.
Thank you, sir.
And they'll be taking on, like we said, Dave, Bonita Vista next week. So, all right, Dave, while we try to maybe get the Patriots here, maybe I'll clean up a little bit and let Coach listen in as we talk about West Hill's nice victory tonight, Dave, against here Mar Vista. Like I said, a familiar opponent. Basically, right, of our East County teams a little bit. West Hills scored a touchdown on its first possession with a 64-yard run by Junior Leon. He played a big part again in this game tonight. Probably the fastest rising star. He's been doing a great job all season, but it seems like the plays are becoming bigger for Leon. Mar Vista countered. It was just a third play from scrimmage. They had a 64-yarder. Mar Vista countered with a touchdown on the ground from the 2, tying the game on a run by Pete Thomas, not the former Valhalla star. It's a coach now in college ball, and he went on to play at a couple of universities here. Great quarterback from Valhalla, Pete Thomas, but this is Peter Thomas. Joey Hamilton added a 5-yard rushing touchdown. He looked great on the ground, Dave. He gave West Hills a 14-7 lead. The drive was set up on a kickoff return by Leon, and then Hamilton hit Leon for a 35-yard pass down to the 12 to set up the red zone scoring drive. West Hills' Barshawn Mitchell had an interception to give West Hills the ball at the 46. He had a 25-yard return in that one. Also, Trevor Brasino had an interception early in the second quarter. We said West Hills could do the job defensively on these guys. Red Hot Ryder Alexander scored on a touchdown run from 8 yards with under 5 minutes to play in the first half on a little counter. And then Hamilton added a rushing touchdown from 25 yards, Dave, in the final minute of the first half. And West Hills led 26-7. Mar Vista scored on a touchdown pass in the third quarter to pull within 26-14 when Thomas connected with his receiver, Moya. Forgive me, I forgot I don't have his first name right now. Moya from 5 yards, a conversion score, made it 26-15. I saw the Wolfpack score another touchdown, Dave, but we were just getting set for the show, and I felt like they had it, so I'll clean up that one, but a touchdown late for the Wolfpack tonight, Dave. And the Wolfpack, we mentioned with Coach, they will take on the Crawford Colts next week. Surely a game that they can win. West Hills, the 6th seed here, will go take on the Crawford Colts. And they got a pretty good offense, a good running game. They're doing a good job this year. Are the Colts? They got the bye. So just to clean up a little bit, Dave. So with our other scores here, Madison, of course, was taking on La Jolla tonight. The winner of that game was going to end up taking on Helix in Division 2 here right now. And it was tonight La Jolla 27, Madison 15. So La Jolla will take on Helix next Friday night. Also, in Division 4, where we're awaiting games, of course, from Grossmont and from El Capitan. Grossmont is to play the winner here of Sweetwater and Mira Mesa. It was Mira Mesa winning, as expected, 41-21, setting up a matchup with El Capitan next week. With Grossmont next week in a rematch from that game earlier this season. Grossmont will be taking on Mira Mesa at Grossmont High, and we'll see what happens this time around. They already played an incredible game that first week that Grossmont won on the road 32-28 in week number 2. Also, Dave, where El Cap is awaiting their next opponent. It would be the winner between Classical Academy and Chula Vista. Chula Vista rolled to the win tonight, 50. Let me get in here, Dave. 55-16. Chula Vista rolls over Classical Academy. So we've got another rematch in the postseason here with El Capitan as they will take on Chula Vista. They played in week 3 and El Capitan lost at home 35-21. So a couple of teams that already played their previous opponent next week in Division 4, Dave. Those will be some great games.
Here comes Joey Hamilton, sir.
All right, man. That'd be great. Okay, let's go right now and bring in one of the stars of the game from the West Hills Wolfpack tonight. Let me bring up the graphic as well. We know the score. We know Joey knows the score. Great job by the West Hills Wolfpack tonight. Our man Joey Hamilton joins us here, Dave, with that victory tonight. Yeah, we called it, Dave, over the Mar Vista Mariners. And Joey joins us right now, Dave. Go ahead.
Joey, you were running like a madman over that defense today. What? Tell us how you was that the plan or was it to throw? Was it to run the ball as much as you can, let the defense take care of their business?
Yeah, after the win against Santana and our success in the run game, we kind of had a similar plan going into tonight and just dominate them physically. And the O-line did great at their jobs, and it just carried us on to the win.
Well, back to back, you take care of the last game of the season and just, I mean, you really took care of business. And then you get first playoff game, you just send them home packing. And then a winnable game as far as I'm concerned coming up for you guys too.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun one. You know, we have this goal at West Hills to get past that second round of playoffs because we haven't. And we just want to make history, and we've been looking forward to that next week and just grinding and get better every week.
Not to mention, you could be ending up playing the Santana Sultans again.
We could. It'd be fun. It'd be a great game.
We're open for it, obviously.
Yeah, we are, but we got to get through these first. Joe, we didn't hear from you guys last week. We want to talk about this game, but if you can, just tell us how you guys felt off of the city championship win, and then got to get ready for a playoff game too the next week. So a lot of emotions. You win a big game like that. Probably would have squeaked in the playoffs if we wouldn't have won, but it does feel like that game got us in for sure. And then all of a sudden, hey, we got to host a playoff game. So what went on all this week with you guys? And tell us about that game, please. Last week, we had the picture of you guys celebrating with the KUSI, and everything was awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a big game, and it was even bigger coming off kind of a tough loss against El Cap. We kind of got it handed to us, so we had to really bounce back and grind through practice all week, even though it was hard and kind of hard to see a vision, especially with Santana ahead of us. So, but coming out of that game, it was a great game. Everyone stood out. We did our celebration after the game. We kind of had our few moments through the weekend and into Monday, but as soon as Tuesday hit, we were ready to go, looking at Mar Vista, studying them, getting ready, and just preparing.
Yeah. And Joey, tell us about Junior Leon right now. I mean, to me, he's one of the maybe most unsung players in the entire county right now. When this guy touches the ball, he's a threat to score a touchdown every time. It felt like those first couple of series, it was all Leon. Tell me quickly, you guys were on the board right away. Did you guys think at that point, hey, this is going to be an easy game? It obviously wasn't.
After the first touchdown, I think after Leon's touchdown, I thought some people had that mindset, but Mar Vista stuck with it. They got their touchdown, and we still had to grind it out. But yeah, Junior's been an absolutely pivotal part of our offense, and he's had a ton of yards this season, so many touchdowns, and it's just really fun to watch him develop as a player. See, because we didn't even think he'd be here. With Caden Chambers, he was looking to start, but Caden went down, and Junior's really stepped up, and he's been awesome for us.
Incredible. It's been incredible, Dave.
Absolutely. So, like Ramon said, 2 big games. You're going to celebrate this one, I'm sure, too, going into Monday, and then here we go again.
Crawford.
3 big turnarounds.
Yeah, got to get Crawford.
Hey, what's gotten into Ryder Alexander too? He's been it seems like he's gotten better every game, getting better every
Absolutely.
game right now.
He came off with a little bit of an injury, and he didn't have as many touches before that, but he came back strong, and he's just been an absolute dog for us.
Did you throw one to Junior? Did I call that right?
No, did not.
Who caught that pass? You threw it about a 35-yarder there,
Yeah.
Joey.
It was to Braden Reed, and he ended up on I believe it was like the 10-yard line.
Right, yeah. I'll change that then in my copy. Maybe that was where I was, Dave. Couldn't quite see it. But so tell me about Braden too, because he's been your top target.
He's been great. Some people kind of sleep on him and don't notice him, and then when they're least expecting it, he shines.
And how about your guys up front? Who are you going to single out? I mean, I'm sure all of them, but anybody here maybe step up and have a real big performance? Their biggest.
Oh yeah, I love my center, Ethan Braga. He's absolutely working his butt off on the line, and he gets our pushes on the quarterback sneaks for the touchdowns, and he's been dominating for us. And same with Preston Cortez and Junior Nunez and Cameron Andreas and Christian Parker, and they've all been wonderful for us. And they work hard. They definitely deserve their recognition.
And Joey, you face this secondary a little bit in practice. Those guys had a big night with a couple.
Did.
So tell me,
Two interceptions. Two great interceptions. Yeah, Mitchell and Isaiah. Yeah. So they both big interceptions. Marshawn's been great for us. Got super long arms. He seems to be such a presence in that middle linebacker spot, and he really pulls our defense together.
So what's going to be different this time too is you're actually going to have to go on the road. That's something that the Wolfpack hasn't had to do for quite a few weeks now.
Yeah. I mean, we went to Santana, but that's right across the street, so it basically feels like a home game.
Right.
Yeah,
so
go ahead, Dave.
So what are your thoughts? Obviously, we're not asking for the game plan, but what are your thoughts on Crawford?
They're going to be a good team, good matchup. Any CIF playoff's going to be a good matchup because you got the season on the line, but we're going to get to them on film and hope for the best.
All right, Joey, great job by the Wolfpack tonight. I think we got a lot of good info out of them here, Dave. We saw Crawford this season. Remember, a couple of times we saw the Christian Patriots beat up on them 42-7, and they beat Mountain Empire 35-0. And of course, they shut out the Braves. I don't think we can compare that situation, and when you do the comparing the teams, but Crawford did beat the Braves 31-0. We know we took care of business, of course, against the Braves. So, okay, Dave, thank you, Joey. Great job, man. We want to hear next week. We want to talk Wolfpack and Sultans in a semifinal.
Absolutely,
it'd be awesome. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, they're gonna have let's just win these games, Dave. I won't say anything.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got to win these games on the road here this week.
Well, we've been talking about it again next week before you guys go out there, and hopefully we can have the same situation. All of our teams, except for one in the East County, took their games. So, and Steel Canyon was about to, but they unfortunately took one.
Monte Vista they won on all of our Division 5, Joey. West Hills, Santana, Monte Vista, still alive. We could have 3 of the 4 teams here with wins next week. That'd be great. All right. Thanks, Joey.
Thanks for your time. I really appreciate coming on late, Joey.
Thanks for having me.
Growing every week and growing confidence every week right now. It feels like West Hills off that city league, city championship last week in the playoff game. All right, Joey. Awesome job, and we'll see you next week, West Hills.
See you next week.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks.
Great job, Dave, by Joey there. Look at how listening to him. Remember we had that great scene with him at the beginning of the year. He had the backdrop, and just listening to him then and listening to him now, I can feel the confidence that team probably has right now after that win, after these 2 wins here in the last couple of weeks. It's going to be a tough game for sure against Crawford. They've had a good season here, Dave. They beat Morris and they beat, interesting to note, Dave, because of Monte Vista playing Hoover. Crawford beat Hoover in the season finale 29-27. and that game was at Crawford. So Crawford won at home. They are seeded third in Division 5. They beat Hoover at home, who is seeded fourth in Division 5. And you see how close it was, right? 29-27. So I have a feeling that West Hill is going to be in this game no matter what. It may come down to, who I should have asked Joey about was their fine kicker too, Slowkowski. I hope I'm getting that right every week. It looks like Slowkowski to me, but I don't know. They probably just call him. I don't know if they call him Slow because he kicks so good.
They bleed. They breed kickers over there at West Hills. Are we kidding? We all know about that. That's a secret. Great job by Joey too. I unfortunately wasn't able to get any of the after their big win tonight. Any of the Patriots. However, and with Steele and Mount Miguel, don't have those contacts. I'd love to speak with them. We know the deal over there at Steel Canyon. I want to respect everybody. So, but
I'll cover that game if you want. We can start the coverage here a little bit too, if then you want to do that.
Oh well, it's fine. I'm just whatever we want to finish today, and then we'll do the Wednesday or Thursday thing.
Well, look, hopefully, hey, if Christian wins next week, let me talk about it here, Dave, real quick, and get these two games in covered here with our show because this was a great one tonight, Dave, with the Christian Patriots winning in Division 2, 28-26, Dave. Yes, it was as wild as it sounds between the number 8 and number 9 seeds here. The Patriots scored the first touchdown coming in the second quarter to take a 7-0 lead. It was Ryan Fishwick, Dave, scoring on a pass from Roman Gustin. So they probably ran sounds like a little trickery right there early on, Dave, for a 7-0 lead. However, the Tigers got a good kickoff return and scored on a 15-yard run. Then the Patriots regained the lead on a pass from Caleb Runkle to Kai Rozier for a 14-7 lead. Then Runkle passed to Brady Eads for a 10-yard touchdown connection on a short pass in the second quarter with 1:26 left before halftime to make it 21-7. And that's how they led at halftime. Dave, what'd you think at that point?
Oh, I was kind of watching it come in, the information come in as well when I could. I thought that it was going to be smooth sailing and that Christian had a chance to blow out these guys from the Imperial Valley.
Well, with 8 minutes left in the third quarter, Imperial scored on a run by Rashad Robinson, their good running back, from 2 yards out to make it 24-14. Then the Patriots, they did have some trouble, Dave, holding on to the ball tonight. Some key turnovers kind of in their own territory. I believe the second one here fumbled the ball at their own 25. The Imperial Tigers took possession and cashed in on a score by Anthony Hellum Jr., but the PAT was blocked by the Patriots, leaving the score 21-20 with 6:31 left in the third quarter. But then the Patriots got a touchdown on a pass from Eads, a pass to Brady Eads from 4 yards out on the first play of the fourth quarter to extend the lead to 28-26. Imperial scored on a 20-yard pass, but Rozier on a huge defensive play made the he blew up the play, is what I understand it, with
2-point conversion.
7:55 to go. Yeah, on the 2-point conversion to make it 28-26. And Eads kind of finished off the game with an interception. The Patriots took over and were in victory formation to hold on tonight, Dave, and they'll take on top-seeded University City. It's 1 versus 8, so this one's going to be a little bit tougher than maybe the teams we just spoke to, but you got to think right now the Patriots playing with a lot of confidence, and they're going to be able to give the Centurions a game here next week.
Hey, look, when you can win a game even turning the ball over, I think you can win just about any game, and I think they've had that same confidence. I'm going to say since probably week 2 or week 3, they've had that same confidence, and I know Spencer started off, and we didn't have Runkle. Even Wilkins had some success as well. Both Spencer and Wilkins. I mean, they really have three capable quarterbacks in reality. But Runkle's just amazing what he does with that ball, with his arm, his vision on the field, and his legs. I mean, that's a hard guy to take care of if you're a defender.
Great job tonight by the Patriots as the East County Dave goes 5-1 tonight. And look, I said, hey, maybe we're not as good as I made us out to be, or maybe what people think of our teams this season. But so far, so good. You can only play the games that you play, and 5-1, including road victories by Monta Vista tonight. But also, Dave, I want to mention, and a great shout out here to a very game Steel Canyon team tonight. We showed the score there a few moments ago, but this one, I said these other games were exciting. This game really was incredible, the way Steel Canyon kind of kept coming back. Escondido scored on a 34-yard touchdown pass from Zeke McIntyre to Josh Gonzalez, the incredible receiver for the Escondido Cougars late in the game for the win over upset-minded Steel Canyon. I got him with 5 touchdowns. There were so many touchdowns. He might have had 6, Dave. Gonzalez was the man tonight. McIntyre to Gonzalez. The Cougars ran in the Escondido Cougars ran in the conversion to make it a 4-point lead. They wanted to be sure because they took that chance there, Dave, because they figured that maybe Steele, in fact, they kicked it to Nico Yara, who kind of ran it back to midfield, and they had a chance. Yara was already a big star in the game. The Cougars took the lead in the second quarter, just a minute or so in, on a 92-yard interception return by Yara. Then Escondido regained the lead on the ensuing possession on a touchdown run by McIntyre from 3 yards out to make it 21-16 at halftime. Dave, only 21-16 with a final score like this. Man, I got excited. After a kickoff return into Steel Canyon territory, Escondido scored on a pass, a little screen pass to the left side down the line to Gonzalez. He ran it into the end zone for a 12-yard score. Escondido led 27-16. Escondido then took a 33-16 lead on another connection to Gonzalez, this one from 59 yards, and they were up 17, but Steel Canyon scored on a rushing touchdown with under 5 minutes to play to make it 33-23. And after Escondido scored on another reception by Gonzalez, at the time, I think it was his third of the night, if I got this right. He also ran in the conversion. It was 41-23, but Steel Canyon scored on a touchdown pass, rushed in for a conversion. They were coming so fast and furious. I don't have the scoring plays on a couple of these Steel touchdowns, but we might get to it in the story. Yara intercepted a pass on the next play to I got to interrupt with this one, Dave. There was an incident during the game. Steel Canyon pushed the Escondido runner out of bounds. No flag was called. It was a late hit or a hit out of bounds. No flag was called, but it did create quite a ruckus. So much so that the Steel Canyon coaching staff, the entire coaching staff, had to kind of come all the way across the field to help calm the scene, as there was some things were going on behind the bench in there. No penalty was called, but on the next play, Yara had his second interception of the game to keep the momentum with the Cougars and took the ball to the Escondido 45. Steel Canyon converted the chaotic situation into points when Gavin Caja scored eventually on a quarterback sneak to make it 41-38. Escondido scored on a 32-yard touchdown pass down the middle of the field, once again to that man Gonzalez, who had that monster night. A conversion pass made the lead 11. Then Steel Canyon's exciting back, Jacob Vasquez, the 5'5" speedy running back, scored on a 14-yard touchdown run, and the Cougars ran in the conversion. It was 49-46 late. However, we described to you the end of the game there. Elijah Sutherland had a field goal there, mid-game as well as part of that scoring spree. Also had one earlier in the game. McIntyre had a run in there as well. Steel Canyon did get inside the 5 in the last minute of the first half and were denied any points as they were kind of pushed back, I think, by a miscue or two there. But nonetheless, a great effort tonight. Escondido did go down that drive, and I described to you the winning touchdown there. That's a lot of points, Dave. I had 110 points there. I don't know if I covered it all, but you get the gist of the way this one went. They had a chance. They had a big chance. They led late, but they just couldn't stop Gonzalez.
Wow. Seems to me like the entire county had some incredible games.
Bill, they did, but in fact, though, Dave, some of them weren't as close as these, but there were some good ones tonight. Del Norte over Oceanside, 42-35. Coronado over Parker, 32-17. Westview beat Vincent Memorial, 23-12. Montgomery rocked Calexico, 33-6. Kind of talking a little Imperial Valley action here, Dave. Point Loma Valley Center, 28-7. Maranatha Christian over Victory Christian, 45-6. Calvin Christian beat Ocean View in 8-man ball. Might have been the game of the night. Rancho Bernardo beat Brawley 29-28. And Saints over La Jolla Country Day here. I don't know if is that right? Yeah, 16-0 is what I'm showing here. Bishops, man, I don't know if I trust these scores here right now. We better just wrap up the show, Dave. Great job tonight getting our guests, and great job by the East County teams, Dave.
Yeah, we almost had a full knockout punch from the East County, and we didn't anticipate there to be so much success. I didn't even think Santana was going to put up that many points and have that many turnovers. 7, count them, 7 interceptions.
Wow. We're going to have to get all those names. I think they gave them to us.
Oh, yeah, Coach Estes did. And I got the last one, so between Coach Estes and this, clean it up. But great job by all our teams. Our guests were fantastic. Joey Hamilton, Coach Tim Estes is always full of information. And Kasim and his offensive lineman, Mr. Was it Gutierrez?
Lopez. Adam Lopez.
Lopez, that's right. Gosh, what a group of games.
Well, Dave, I got good news and bad news next week here. You're going to have, I believe, 10-game schedule to go down here with all of our winners tonight. Five teams obviously going to advance. We have the 4 teams awaiting their opponent next week. They know who they'll face now. And we've also have Foothills Christian going. So 10 games next week. We only had 6 tonight. You up for it?
Let's do it. We had some great guests, great show, great wrap-up. Let's put her to bed. Let's take her home.
Thank you to our sponsors, Granite Hills Mortgage and Lakeside Equipment. And we'll be back next week. We'll preview the games, and we'll be here again, hopefully talking to some winners next Friday night. For Dave Dickens, I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.